Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I am fresh off the continent of Africa. And I am so excited to get back and get a chance to talk to my friend, Miss Susan Patton, aka the Princeton Mom. How you doing today, Susan?
Fantastic voice. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm feeling really good. You and I were talking. You happen to be Jewish, and I was telling you that going back to Africa was probably similar to maybe how a Jew might feel when they go to Israel, but or anybody who goes to the homeland of their ancestors. I had a great time. Yeah.
That's
So
wonderful. Although, like Israel is not the ancestral homeland for my people.
mm,
My parents came from Poland. My parents were never in Israel, but certainly Israel being the ancestral homeland for Jews, like maybe ancestral, going back who knows how many thousands of years. I guess my people did come from there, but certainly not in the recent past. But I'm glad you had a great trip. How wonderful is that?
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I had a really good time. So, I'm excited to talk to you because so many things happened while I was gone. One of the things that
Oh,
went down that really got my attention was this crazy thing at the University of Oklahoma with the SAE Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity.
right.
They were singing this song about I think it was there'll never be a nigger in SAE, and then he said something, I don't care if you hang him from a tree, there'll never be a nigger in SAE. And since that time, the university has obviously been in complete turmoil. The president of the university has pretty much disconnected the campus from that fraternity altogether, which was kind of shocking to me because the SAE fraternity is pretty powerful. These are sort of these white males that are going to become senators and business owners, and their fathers are these powerful people, and they come from these wealthy families, and for him to disassociate in that way was really shocking for me. What
And
was your
suspend
reaction?
these. Well, the university suspended these kids that were on the video chanting this ugliness. I thought it was a terrible mistake. They should not have suspended these kids, and they should not disassociate themselves from SAE. SAE should have a conversation with their own membership and tell their own membership, stop making fools of yourself with your stupidity, with your stupid, racist garbage. But no, I don't think we want to restrict the freedom of speech of anybody. And idiots who would say such stupid things publicly, are they honestly hurting black students on campus? I don't think so. I think that the campus looks at these students and think, oh my God, what idiots, what morons. These are despicable, disgusting people who, if left on campus, would be shunned by their classmates, shunned by university administrators and teachers for being the idiots that they are. I never think that the answer is to restrict anybody's freedom of speech. So I wouldn't have suspended these students. I would let them continue down their ridiculous, stupid, hateful path because everyone around them will shout them down. I don't think the university should have interceded, and I never think it's good to restrict anybody's freedom of speech. Go ahead.
Well, I can't say I agree because first of all, let's just say that it's not like the SAE fraternity just started doing this kind of thing yesterday. They've been doing this for a very long time since the fraternity came into existence. Not that every member thinks this way, but there are a lot of people that either are a part of this or they're complicit in terms of letting it go and not saying anything. And these men are not punished for this kind of behavior. Society does not punish most white males for being racist because many of these men in SAE go on and they become senators, they become judges, they become employers, and these are the men who are later on denying jobs to people of color, putting
Wait,
people of color in prison,
wait.
right? So I would imagine some sort of punishment would be called for.
I think so. Why do we should punish people for what they think, for what they say? I don't think so. We should punish people for what they do. If ever any one of these people did anything that actually harmed a person of color, that's different. Then no holes are barred. You punish these people to the full extent of the law. But do we really want to punish people for what they think and for what they say? I don't think so, boys. I don't
Well,
think so. I think it's
I have to say, Susan, they were singing about hanging black people from trees. And this is not just a metaphor. A lot of black people really were hanged from trees. If they were singing about putting Jews in ovens,
yeah.
that's not cool. That's not going to fly. People aren't going to be okay with that. It seems that there has to be some sort of penalty for that kind of behavior because it does have a real impact on people's lives.
I don't disagree. Well, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Actually, it does. Actually, it does because if you let that kind of thing slide, and this kid grows up and he's still the biggest singing about hanging black people from trees, and then later on, black people are applying for jobs with the company that he's a manager in, or he sees black men in his courtroom. It has a real impact on in terms of how these people are treated. So I would say a penalty is called for.
I don't agree with you. I think that these idiots who would sing these horrible lyrics, who would say these sort of awful things out loud, how long do you think it would take if they were left to their own devices once they're out of a university environment and out in the real world? How long do you think it would take before they got the crap out of them by people? Because you can't live in the world like this. But I don't think it's a university's place to restrict speech or restrict thought. And the fact of the matter is, I don't really know anything about SAE, but I believe you when you say that this is a long history of being haters, being racist haters. It's not illegal to hold these thoughts. It's not illegal to hold in your heart the thought that I don't want to be with black people, I don't like black people. You can't legislate that.
Well,
so what are we talking about? Are we objecting to them voicing what they're... Look, you're not going to change the way they think. You know that, right? You'll never change the way they think. So what we're talking about... You're not going to change...
I mean, you may not change what they think, but at the same time, you can take a stand and let them know that there are penalties for certain kinds of displays of certain kinds of behavior.
No.
I just think, and I think at the same time, here's the other thing too. I think that not only should these students have been punished, but there are other people that are complicit in this. Remember, when you hear a 20-year-old kid singing about hanging black people from trees, and he's never done it before, I assume, where does he get that from? First of all, where does he learn that this is okay? Who are the adults that have raised him, the teachers that have taught him, the university that is educating him? And at no point in this whole process of being trained and raised and educated has anybody even let him know how unacceptable that is. I think that's a problem too. I think that says something about the learning environment of that institution as well.
I don't disagree. All right, so clearly, where does a 19-year-old kid get this kind of hate? Probably from his parents. You're going to go after his parents for what they think? You're going to go after his parents for what they taught him? You're not going to. All we're talking about here is a group of haters, and that's what they are. They're going to continue to hate because that's who they are until they come to a point maybe where they mature beyond that and recognize how bad it is for everybody, not just for black. It's bad for everybody. When you have hate in your heart, eventually you have hate in your hands, and then it's off the rails. But I don't think we ever want to, and what we're talking about here, what you're suggesting is that we punish people for what they say. I don't agree, Boyce. I think we punish people for what they do. If they ever raised a hand to a black person, if they ever threatened harm, to say, I'm going to punch you in the nose, no, I don't get put in jail for saying, I'm going to punch you in the nose. It's words. It's words. And I think if you leave these idiots on campus, they'll be shamed, they'll be screamed at by such an enormous population of people who know better. I don't think that it is wise to make them martyrs. And I think in part, when you cut them off from the university or cut the fraternity off from the university, or making them martyrs, let them say what they want. I don't care what they... Look, yes, I do have very thick skin, and some of the things that have been said about me the last couple of months, it would make your hair curl. The hair that you don't have. It would make your hair curl. It's been so ugly. But, I always think to myself, one, it's just words. Sticks and stones, baby. Sticks and stones. Two, I think, you're not going to legislate how other people think. We live in America. You think what you want. I think what I want. If you ever raise a hand to me, now we're talking trouble. Now we are talking serious trouble. But you're not going to legislate how I think or what I say. And we shouldn't be doing that. It's absolutely... You're wrong on this, Boyce. You are absolutely wrong.
I'm absolutely correct because you have to know that it's not, when you're talking about racial violence, it's not a matter of everyone participating in the violence. It's a matter of creating an environment that facilitates the violence. So if I go out into the streets and I know that there are people listening to me and I say, kill all the gay people, kill them all, hang them from trees, and then the mob goes and hangs gay people from trees because of what I said, then I'm complicit in hate speech. I've said something that has led to the harm of another person, almost like ordering someone else's killing. So when you have young white males, many of whom are going to be powerful people. Remember, these are not SAEs are not average guys. They're going to become leaders of this country one day. And they're singing joyfully about hanging black people from trees. Not acceptable. You have futures leaders of America who are saying that racial violence is okay. And now, if we didn't have a history of racial violence, if there wasn't a long pattern of black people, particularly in Oklahoma, being hanged from trees, then maybe we'd see it a little bit differently. But this is very real. So I would say but where I do agree with you though is I think here's one thing I do think. I think that sometimes we pick scapegoats. They did it when I was at Syracuse University. Every couple years, some students would do something that was just so ignorantly and heinously racist. You would say, "Where did you come up with this? Not only are you stupid for the fact that you don't realize how dumb this is, but you had to become miseducated to an extent that you came up with the creative manifestation of this kind of hatred that had to be given to you." If that makes any sense, right? So it's like not only did you not learn what you were supposed to learn, you learned a bunch of stuff you weren't supposed to learn. And so at that point, what would always happen, and the same thing happened in Oklahoma, they would condemn what was said, they would expel the students or suspend them, and they would spend a week saying this is unacceptable, we don't accept this on this campus. But then when it came to making real substantive change in the learning environment to help these 19-year-old impressionable kids avoid those kinds of mistakes, the university would do almost nothing. When it came time for them to hire faculty that showed diversity, or when it came to addressing the curriculum in terms of what these students are being taught, they wouldn't do those things. So I think with Oklahoma, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing, I think these guys should be punished, but I think that for us to look at every outburst of racial hatred and to kind of say, oh, this is isolated, this has nothing to do with us, this has nothing to do with Oklahoma, this has nothing to do with America, I think you're totally missing the issue. I think racial ignorance, and I'll say this and I'm done, I'll let you get the last word, and then actually you and I will do just another video after this, because I think there's so much passion here. But I think that racial tension, violence, history, racial animosity, if you will, it is like a dormant STD. And when I was reading about how some of them work, some of them remain dormant and they flare up every now and then, right? Like one, for example, herpes. Herpes, a lot of people have it, a ton of people have it, and no one knows they have it, but then it flares up every now and then they clean it up and pretend like it's not there. I feel like that's now and then we act like it has nothing to do with us, and then we try to pretend like it was an isolated instance when in fact there's a more serious problem going on. Now, I think Susan is gone now for some reason, and I don't know why. But you can still hear me, Susan? Okay, good. Your video is out for some reason, but you know what? We're gonna just do another video because I think that we've hit this topic pretty hard, and so I'll shut this down so we can fix these technical difficulties and start back up.
No, I'm not done. No. You said I got the last word. So
okay. Well, just so you know, we can't see your video, but please go ahead and say what you want to say. I'm sorry.
See me? You cannot see me. You really cannot see me.
I see you. I see you and the dog, and I assume that that's what the viewers see. So, but they can hear you. So please continue.
Okay. Let me again say how totally wrong you are about this. We are never going to legislate thought, and that's really what we're coming down to here. No student was harmed on campus by these idiots. They were chanting was ugly, and you're quite right. If anybody said anything about Jews and ovens, it would make me sick. That these white students are chanting this ugliness about black students makes me sick. But, there are always going to be idiots in the world, and we're not going to change who they are. And you're saying that they're creating an atmosphere that could lead to violence? Well, maybe yes, maybe no. What I know for sure is that if we're gonna punish students for what they say, we're one step away from punishing them for what they think. And this is altogether dangerous, I think. Very dangerous. You can think what you want. You can say what you want, but you have to keep your hands to yourself. You don't put anybody else in harm's way. And I understand that you're going to say that, you create an atmosphere. We could talk about Ferguson and how an atmosphere was created in Ferguson of hatred towards the police to the extent that it led to the death of 2 New York City police officers. Are you willing to take that? Are you willing to own that?
I think we should do that in our next video today. I think we should finish this, close this conversation up, and then start the other one fresh because I got a whole lot to say to you about that too.
Okay, but I totally changed your mind on this, didn't I? Go on, say it.
You didn't change anything. Nothing changed over here. But I listen to you, and I love you. I love talking to you. So that's always true. So we're gonna. I want everybody to know that because the video is having the issue, I'm gonna shut this down, and we're gonna start another conversation. And I hope people will join us on this as well. We're gonna knock this one out right now. So it'll be up on YouTube today as well. So everybody, this is Susan Patton, aka the Princeton Mom. You can't see her, but you can see the pretty picture with her and her beautiful dog. And I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World. Until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. We are gone. Peace.